Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade has finally come to PC via the Epic Games Store, and while that has created controversy and many other people have reported all these issues with running the game, I have had this for quite a while and I've not run into any issues whatsoever. And in this review, I'm going to be talking about my personal experience with it, not so much the story. If you want to know about the story of the game, I link another video for you to check out that covers all that. But in this video, we're going to be talking about the performance and the setups I utilized for running Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade for PC. Let's go ahead and get into it.
This wasn't written with your comfort in mind. Nah. Made my decision, wasn't tough to decide. Nah. Me and my boys, we get it done every time. Gotta earn it, you can't just jump in the line. You'll get rushed to the side. I top my division, I've been building since I started. In the parking lot, I parked it. I came in while picking targets. My career cannot be tarnished. I'm a champion regardless. Celebrate, but this is a different kind of lucha party. We are not alike.
Before we kick this video off, I want to give a huge shout out and mahalo to Square-Enix for providing a review copy of this game. I have reviewed this game probably 2 prior times with the PlayStation 4 version as well as the PlayStation 5 version, and here's the 3rd time I'm covering, but it's going to be a little bit different. Like I said, I'm covering the performance as well as the machines I use, my desktop and my laptop, for playing and capturing footage, and I just want to, relegate that to you guys so you guys will know like how my experience was. And I know there's been a lot of complaints about the performance of this on the Epic Games Store launcher, and I just haven't run into any of that. I don't want to sound like I'm beating a dead horse or that I'm shilling for Square Enix or anything like that. It's just, this is a trend. I don't run into a lot of issues other reviewers do. Maybe it's because of my setup. I don't know, but we'll see. Before we get this video kicked off, make sure you sub to the channel, ding the notification bell, that way you stay up to date on all the latest and greatest content that comes from this channel. And if you want to support what we do, we got Patreon over on patreon.com/MikhailCasanova. All that being said, let's go ahead and dive into this review of the technical aspects of Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade. Releasing in the same year that the PlayStation 5 Upgrade Edition, Final Fantasy VII Remake looks to take PC players by storm, even if it's not on the primary platform of choice for many PC gamers, which is Steam. The PC port comes with a few key differences from the PlayStation 5 version, yet doesn't give you the robust set of options one would expect of a console title going to PC. I can safely say that it is well optimized for PC and runs without often a hitch or performance issues. You get both the base game, Final Fantasy VII Remake, as well as the Intergrade or Intermission expansion from the PlayStation 5 version that are both selectable from the main menu. Or if you just play through the main story, you'll run into Intermission anyway. If you want a full detailed review of the game, then refer to my review of the PlayStation 5 version of Intergrade, which I will link in the top corner as well as in the description down below. Now, I personally ran the game on my desktop that has an RTX 3070 rocking an i7 10700K with 32 gigs of DDR4, 3200 megahertz of RAM, with a monitor that was able to support 4K 120 frames per second with HDR settings all maxed out to 10. And on my gaming laptop, which is an Asus ROG M16, it has an RTX 3060 rocking an i9-11900H, 16 gigs of DDR4 RAM at 3200 megahertz at a resolution of 1440p at 120 frames per second, with both machines having Windows 11. There aren't any DLSS options if you're on an Intel rig, nor are there any Super FX options if you're running an AMD setup. What baffles me is the fact that instead of having a plethora of display options to tweak and tons of accessibility options that you can easily configure to get the best experience for your setup, you're left with only 2 options being windowed or borderless, along with your resolution settings and frame rate settings options. There are no options for being able to take advantage of an ultra-wide display, so if you're like me and you have an ultra-wide, then you'll be left with the central image with black bars on the left and right sides of the screen, which is honestly disappointing, which makes no sense when something like Final Fantasy 15 has ultra-wide support and then 7 Remake does not. Now, the graphics running at 4K look amazing, especially with the HDR turned on. However, just like the console ports, there are many textures and assets that look rough, if not downright terrible and blurry, which will make you realize that this was a game that was built for the PlayStation 4 in mind and not the current generation of consoles as well as graphics cards for computers. There is no way for me to test this game on all PC configurations, but again, the game is so well optimized that you can expect it to work well on almost any setup running at least at a bare minimum a GTX 1060 and up. Even though I do know that Square-Enix does say that you can run with a lower graphics card, I personally would not try to run this on anything below a 1060 or maybe a 1050 graphics card. Now, I have heard and seen reviews where the game was bashed for its performance and lack of customization, and yet I haven't run into any performance issues whatsoever. When it comes to the controls, you have the options to either play the game with a traditional controller or even with a mouse and keyboard combo. Now, you're wondering which is better. That's truly up to you as a player because, you know, how you prefer to play the game is on a case-by-case basis. Me personally, I find the standard controller setup to be the most comfortable, and thus I've been playing it with the PowerA Fusion Pro 2 controller and utilizing the ability to custom map actions to the back pedals of the controller. So is this the definitive way to play Final Fantasy VII Remake? Well, honestly, if you don't have access to a PlayStation 5 or PlayStation 4, then yes, it is a great way to experience one of the best games of the previous generation. If you played it on PlayStation 4 or PlayStation 4 Pro and haven't experienced the vastly upgraded version on PlayStation 5, then this is a must play. And if you've experienced this and already own this on PlayStation 5, then aside from being able to run this at 4K 120 frames per second with HDR, there isn't much incentive to buy this version of the game unless you just prefer to play it on PC. Truthfully speaking, this is a very basic by-the-books port with no frills and no fanfare, which ultimately is unfortunate when it could have been so much more. And that's it. That's the review for Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade for PC. Again, thank you to Square-Enix for providing a review copy of the game. Why don't you guys let me know what you think down in the comment section below. Do you have this? Did you enjoy it on PC, or do you prefer playing on a PlayStation 5 or even PlayStation 4? Whatever your thoughts are, let's get the conversation going in the comment section below. Or if you want to take the conversation further, we do have Discord as well as Guilded, with links for both in the description below. And with all that being said, I am signing out. If you want to support the content that we do, make sure you go over to patreon.com/MikhailCasanova or become a channel member for early and exclusive access, behind the scenes, and input on the content that we put out today and future content that's to be released. With all that being said, make sure you like the video, sub if you haven't already, and share it with someone you think would enjoy it. And in saying that, I'm out. I hope you guys have an aloha rest of your day, and yeah, stay safe, get vaccinated, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace. Mahalo for making it to the end of the video. And if you found anything of importance or substance that you gained from watching this, make sure you leave a comment down in the comment section below. If you haven't already, make sure you sub to the channel and ding the notification bell. That way you stay up to date on all the content that you get from my channel, from podcasts, streams, reviews, impressions, reactions, and so much more. If you want to support what we do have channel memberships. We've got Patreon, we've got Subscribe Star, as well as coffee, which I would love to be drinking some coffee right now, which I am. That's some good coffee. But anyway, we got all of that, and we also have merch on Teespring and TeePublic, so make sure you go check that out. And all that being said, I just hope to see you in the next video that I put out. So hey, see you around.